Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Cassie orders 2 designer juicers in Ken's name. When Steve suggests lunch at the bistro, Cassie is delighted. When Ken closes his eyes and Cassie nips out, his eyes ping open. Is Ken finally on to Cassie? As Steve waits for Cassie in the bistro, he admits to Amy that he really likes Cassie. Back at No One, as Ken reaches for the phone, he collapses in pain. Meanwhile, in court, Dylan becomes emotional when he tells the judge how he only meant to scare Mason's brothers with the knife. But when the judge asserts that he should be up for the more serious crime of making threats with a knife, Sean and Dylan are horrified. Adam warns Dylan that he could be looking at a 2-year sentence. The judge confirms Dylan's sentence in the STC, but how long will he get? Elsewhere, Daisy has her 12-week scan, but as the sonographer moves the monitor, Daisy finds things too much and rushes out of the appointment. Also today, Ronnie calls for Alfie to take him to the Red Wreck. Kevin wishes he could go too, but Abby insists that he needs to rest. As Ronnie fixes a kitchen cupboard for Abby, Kevin feels totally useless. Finally, Todd and George put pressure on Julie to tell Eileen the real reason she is here, but will Julie listen? Next week on Coronation Street, Ken Barlow faces a terrifying health scare just as Cassie Plummer's secret plan begins to unravel, leaving Weatherfield in shock. For weeks, Cassie has been growing more desperate. After struggling to stay clean and prove herself to Tyrone and Evelyn, she's been skimming money from the garage, convincing herself it's just a loan she'll pay back. But when Dean, her menacing old dealer, resurfaces, demanding thousands she doesn't have, Cassie's forced to take drastic action. And her target, Ken Barlow. Cassie has always had a way of charming her way into situations, and after striking up a friendship with Ken, offering to run errands and help him at the library, she sees an opportunity. Knowing Ken recently sold a valuable first edition book, she starts plotting a way to get her hands on the cash. But just as Cassie sets her plan in motion, disaster strikes. Monday, Cassie's gamble. Ken, as always, is the picture of dignity and wisdom, still grieving the absence of Deirdre, but finding comfort in his routine. He's unaware that Cassie has been subtly trying to gain his trust, dropping hints about her hard life, how Tyrone and Evelyn still don't believe she's turned over a new leaf. When she mentions her terrible money troubles, Ken, ever the gentleman, offers support. If you need anything, Cassie, you only have to ask. Cassie hesitates. She knows Ken would never just hand over thousands, but there's another way. She's overheard Brian mentioning that Ken's old typewriter collection is worth a small fortune. With a plan forming, she subtly suggests selling some pieces to help a friend in need. Ken doesn't seem convinced, but the seed has been planted. Wednesday, Ken's collapse. As the week progresses, Cassie's desperation grows. Dean isn't backing off, he's lurking around, dropping chilling threats. At the Rovers, he corners her. "Time's up, Cass. Get me my money, or your grandson finds out exactly who you are." Cassie panics. She knows Tyrone would never forgive her if he found out she was mixed up with dealers again. That's when she makes a terrible decision. She sneaks into No One, thinking Ken is out. She plans to grab a couple of valuable items, sell them quickly, and put the money back before anyone notices. But just as she's stuffing a rare book into her bag, she hears a voice behind her. "Cassie, what are you doing?" Ken stands in the doorway, his face pale with shock. Cassie stammers an excuse, but Ken isn't fooled. His hands shake as he reaches for his phone. "I have to call someone." But before he can finish, he suddenly clutches his chest, gasping for air. His legs buckle. Cassie watches in horror as Ken slumps to the floor, unconscious. Friday, the truth comes out. In the aftermath, chaos erupts. Tracy and Daniel rush to the hospital, devastated. The doctors confirm Ken suffered a minor heart attack, likely brought on by stress. Cassie is riddled with guilt, But she panics when Evelyn begins asking questions. "You're the last person to see Ken. What were you doing there?" Evelyn asks, her eyes sharp. Cassie flounders. If she tells the truth, she'll lose everything. But if she lies... And then, to her horror, Dean shows up at the hospital, smirking. "Hope your mate's alright, Cass. Be a shame if people found out why he keeled over, eh?" Cassie knows she's in deep trouble. And with Ken recovering, she fears the moment he wakes up, because when he does, he might just expose everything. But will he? And if he does, will Cassie finally face the consequences of her action?